Due to popular request, well, two requests, this is a little video of some takeoff and landing at Overton. The camera is mounted on the nose wheel strut. It's only about 10 inches above the pavement, so it looks like we're going really fast in the ground, but we're really not. We're going to be taking off on runway 31, which is going to the northwest. Up ahead you see the Virgin Mountains and the Mesa. Right now we'll make a turn onto the runway. And the center line is there somewhere. We'll bring up the power, verify the directional control, and the brakes are off. RPM is 5,000 or more. And at 50 knots, we lift off. There isn't much to it. And you saw my hangar, the door was open there. As we climb out, just the next thing off the end of the runway, you'll see two large buildings with a pond. And that is the Crafties plant. You can just start to see the two white buildings here a little bit to the left of the center line of the runway. And we're climbing, we typically climb out to about 500 feet before making the turn. In this traffic pattern, there's a good view of the Crafties plant just disappearing. And we're turning to the east for this traffic pattern, and you'll see the Virgin Mountains and the Mesa. This is an extremely wide angle camera, and you get some fisheye effect. You also notice some wobbling. There was a little bit of turbulence, light turbulence down low especially, and that's causing the wiggle in the wings. Now on the right side is the Moapa Valley. We're headed south towards Lake Mead. You might just be able to see a little bit of Lake Mead down there. You can see the airport and the hangars if on the right hand side of the screen. And a little bit off the center towards the left is a development that's near the airport. Okay, now we're making a turn, and there is another airplane landing underneath us. You can just see the white speck going through the dark area near the center. And that was another airplane landing. I think straight ahead there, before you get to Lake Mead, I think those fields, or some of them, are the sewage treatment plant. And we're making a turn here to the west, and you'll see the familiar Valley of Fire, and we'll get over the Moapa Valley. And now we're heading sort of northwest along the Moapa Valley. You can see the airport near the right-hand side. Oh, actually, the airport is right near the center, I think, of the screen. And we're coming up, you'll be able to see the big bridge that was put in place of the culvert. That's just about in the center of the screen right now. The river is the Muddy River, which doesn't have a lot of water in it, but it goes right through the Moapa Valley, which is likely why everyone built by the valley. And there's a better view of the airport. BC's house is just going off the screen on the bottom. There's a little park there for development. And we're continuing north, and off the northwest end of the runway, you might see the two white buildings. They're very small right now, but that's the Crafties plant. And the river, again, is the Muddy River. And there is still farming, there are still animals grazing in town. with the green fields and so on. The mountains in the upper right are the Mormon Mountains. They're north of the airport, north of Overton. And we'll make a turn to the west again, parts of the Valley of Fire, and all the strange rocks that are to the west of town. And we're now looking southwest. Going through town again. The valley is very much mixed residential and agricultural. And I think pretty soon we'll do a gentle wing over. We'll pull the nose up. That's the Overton Mesa, right next to town. And we'll do a wing over here, pulling the nose up. Basically a climbing turn. And recovering from that, we'll make one in the opposite direction. And the Overton Mesa, right back where it was. We're going to be landing very shortly. We're coming up on the airport. The start of the runway and the hangars are on the left side. And this time we're going to land on runway 13, which is landing to the southeast, the opposite direction that we took off from. There isn't much wind, and the other airplane had switched to this runway, so we'll follow the same runway. That's that development that's a little bit above the airport, and now we're flying west, and we're about to make a turn towards the runway. The Crafties plant is in the upper left corner, and you actually fly right over that as we get down low over the runway. Again, the two white buildings and then the black pond. The pond liner is black, the water is not black. Lots of flat areas and sagebrush around the airport. And because the camera is so low to the ground, it looks like we're going a lot faster than we actually are. We're probably not doing any more than about 50 miles an hour when we touch down right there. And I'm going to pull off to the side of the runway a bit because the Cessna that was in the traffic pattern was still practicing landings, so I want to get off the runway as soon as I can for him. And there'll be a taxiway coming up on the left, the right-hand side. Again, we're going much slower than what it looks like. And turn off the runway. And there's a parallel taxiway, which will lead back to the hangars, which you might be able to see just a little bit of before we get to the end, which is right about now.